Hello everybody, Jim here. Welcome back to my palatial Tokyo estate. Welcome back for another edition of More Games. And today, I got a fun episode for you. I played for the very first time a bunch of Intellivision games, which Intellivision is similar to the 2600, a console that was before my time, so I actually never played the physical console itself. And I don't think I've ever even played before any like digital versions of Intellivision games. But what kind of piqued my interest, not recently, but like over the past couple of years, when there was like the whole fervor around the Intellivision Amico, and I didn't get it. Some people were like really enthusiastic for it, and I didn't really get it. And then a lot of them said that they were Intellivision fans, big fans of the original Intellivision by Mattel and all the games on it. And they were showing off new versions of things like Astro Smash and Shark and what have you. And to be completely honest, I thought it all looked really lame and shitty. But as of late, I have learned a valuable lesson about not judging games that you haven't played before. Don't knock it till you tried it, as they say. Some of the recent game reviews I've done have been of games that I had heard were like notoriously bad, and it turns out they weren't bad at all. Some of them were supposedly the best games ever, and they were just kind of okay, in my opinion. So yeah, I decided to get over my biases, not judge these books by their covers, and try out some Intellivision games. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. I picked out half a dozen Intellivision games to play for the first time, and you're just going to get my honest thoughts on all of them. And before we get started, down in the comments, if you have a favorite Intellivision game, let me know what it is, because I'd certainly like to know if there's anything I should try. Obviously, I played all of these games on emulators, which the emulator, I think, is called Intellivision Free. And so it's not going to be the same as playing with that Intellivision controller, which looks like a phone with a disc on it. So I did the best I could with the controllers I have here. And yeah, it was quite an experience. So here you go, check this out. My initial thoughts on 6 Intellivision classic games. Okay, first up we have Astro Smash, which was a game scheduled to be on the Amico that was kind of like one of their like poster boy games. Like it was all over their advertising. I think it's available now, just like on the like a mobile app and maybe in the eShop. I'm not sure. But yeah, so Astro Smash was like the first Intellivision game I wanted to try. Because I had heard a number of people say that they had like really fond memories of it. And I myself, I am a fan of classic like single screen shooters. I like Galaga, and I like Galaxian. I like Space Invaders to a certain extent. So I was looking forward to trying this game out. And it's very just like middle of the road for me. It's like it's not a bad game, but it's so basic, which of course like it would be basic. It came out in 1981, but even still, like I think compared to a game like I don't know Galaga, which that's not really a super fair comparison because Galaga was an arcade game. But even like Space Invaders, which like any console could do Space Invaders. There's Space Invaders on the Atari 2600, or even I did an Atari 2600 game recently, and played that version of Missile Command and loved it. So like all those games are awesome. Here though, I found Astro Smash To be, yeah, just like super standard. Your ship is at the bottom of the screen, asteroids are falling down on top of you, and you just move to the left and right and shoot them out of the air. And that's basically it. I did like the mechanic that, obviously, as you shoot the asteroids, you earn points. But any asteroids that hit the ground, you lose points. So at least that's like a little something like to make the gameplay a little more interesting. But other than that, I just found it to be like the most basic of basic single screen shooter games. So it's not that like it wasn't fun at all. Like, yeah, just moving left and right and shooting asteroids out of the sky is fun enough. But yeah, not something that could hold my interest for like a very long time. Maybe if there was like some other gimmick to it, then, you know, it could have been like a bit better. But as it is, yeah, this is just like the most kind of like vanilla milquetoast game I played, and yeah, not terribly into it. Again, I mean, you know, I'm not saying like, oh, it's unimpressive, this like 40-something-year-old game. Again, I like old school single screen shooters. It's just a lot of them had like something to like spice the gameplay up a little bit, and I just felt like Astro Smash is like the most basic version of one of those games you can possibly get. So yeah, while not being like this horrible game or anything, it didn't really do anything for me, and I doubt the Amigo version would have either. But yeah, there it is. If you like a single screen shooter, you don't really need a bunch of bells and whistles and things. You probably get some enjoyment out of Astro Smash. I mean, I played it for like half an hour, and it, I didn't not have any fun at all, but I think half an hour was enough. I don't really see myself going back to Astro Smash anytime soon. But there it is. The one, the only, I guess not the only anymore, since there's, the modern one was released. But anyway, there it is. It's Astro Smash on Intellivision. I concede, yeah, I played this with my controller, not the, obviously not going to be playing with an original Intellivision controller, so maybe that made it better somehow. But as it is, yeah, and then with, visuals, sound, it's like, whatever, it's Intellivision. But yeah, didn't really blow my skirt up. Sorry, Astro Smash. Next up, another single-screen shooter, but one I enjoyed more than Astro Smash, and that is Buzz Bomber. And this is a pretty fun little game. You're a spray can down at the bottom of the screen. I guess you're like a can of pesticide, and you're killing bees. Which, I don't know, usually you don't go out killing bees with pesticide. That's more reserved for like cockroaches and mosquitoes and stuff. But hey, what the hell? These are some aggressive bees, so why not? Yeah, maybe they're those killer bees I remember hearing so much about when I was a kid. So you got a can of pesticide and you're killing a bunch of bees, and then a hummingbird shows up and you just start blasting that hummingbird with pesticide too, because hey, damn hummingbird, I don't know why not. Yeah, kill it with pesticide. And then as you kill the bees, they leave behind these honeycomb things, which if other bees run into it, they immediately drop down a level, making them, get closer to you. And then they go down to the bottom of the screen, and they can like clump up if they get down there, which limits how much room you have to move. So yeah, so the bees move around quite a bit, and they leave behind the honeycomb, so you gotta destroy those too. And then the hummingbird comes in, and yeah, I guess you're supposed to kill the hummingbird. I don't know, I was shooting the hell out of it. Again, this is my first time playing, and I'm not exactly like a buzz bomb wizard. But yeah, I did enjoy this game more than Astro Smash, just because it seemed like there was more going on. Like in Astro Smash, the asteroids just kind of like fall, straight down at you. Here, the bees are moving around a bit. You got to take out the honeycombs. You deal with the bird and all that stuff. So it was, I don't know, it was more fun. There was like more to it. There was more going on, and I think visually more interesting game. It had like some fun music as well, like a Flight of the Bumblebee kind of thing going on, which is very fitting. So yeah, Buzz Bomber, as far as like single screen shooting games go, and I think both were made by Mattel. So yeah, if I was gonna say pick one of these, either Astro Smash or Buzz Bomber, I'd say go Buzz Bomber. I thought this one was quite a bit more fun. They probably should have remade this for the Amico. Then, you know, that probably would have really got some people interested. We could have had a modern Buzz Bomber. Or you can just go outside and kill bees and hummingbirds with pesticide. You know, probably not quite as fun. You're probably going to get stung up. But I guess until that Buzz Bomber remake comes out, that's the best we can do. Or just go back and play Buzz Bomber on Intellivision or an Intellivision emulator as I did. This game is pretty cool. Next up, the Intellivision port of Dig Dug, which I guess apparently was programmed by one guy, according to the title screen. But yeah, this is actually a pretty solid representation of Dig Dug. Dig Dug is one of my favorite classic Namco arcade games. I'm not exactly great at like Pac-Man or Galaga or Galaxian. I do okay at those games. Dig Dug is the only one that seemingly I've ever been able to do like any good at. Also, I mean, I think Dig Dug is like the easiest of their old school arcade games. But hey, that's besides the point. It's like, you know, not very many games are easy enough for me. So yeah, the Intellivision version of Dig Dug plays just like the arcade game. Simple game. You dig around. You kill little monsters. You try not to get them, you know, fire breathed on you and die. Try not to have any rocks dropped on your head. And as you walk around, music plays, and it's an adorable little game, and you kill monsters with your hose, like, bike pump thing, which is all kinds of fun, although a horrible way to die, getting blown up like that. I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm thinking of, like, multiple examples now. Like, the Thunder guy from Big Trouble in Little China, he inflated until he exploded, and then that's how they killed Chucky at the end of Child's Play 2, now that I think about it. So think about the ending of Child's Play 2, and that's basically Dig Dug. So there you go. I don't really have much to say about Dig Dug on Intellivision, just because, yeah, it's basically the exact same thing as the arcade game. Obviously, the visuals are a bit of a step down. That's to be expected, but still, really fun game, plays solid, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. The Intellivision version of Dig Dug is pretty damn good. Next up, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And I thought this game sucked. I didn't really know much about it. I just knew there was a He-Man and Intellivision game. So started playing it, and right away I was like, okay, what the hell am I doing? I mean, there's not a whole lot of buttons to toy around with, so I'm like, alright, fireballs are coming at me, obviously shoot the fireballs. And then the little guy running down the bottom of the screen, I was like, I guess that's Skeletor, which, yes, it is Skeletor, and you can drop bombs down on him. So you're just repeatedly dropping bombs on Skeletor, you're just like killing him repeatedly, shooting fireballs out of the sky, and you just do that until eventually you're transported to like a different stage where Skeletor is like throwing fireballs at you, and you get like a shield, and there's a sword. I'm guessing it's like the Sword of Omens. I think that's what the sword was called in He-Man. You gotta excuse me, I'm not exactly like a He-Man expert. That was a little before my time. My older cousins were like big He-Man enthusiasts, though. Actually, I got a hand-me-down Castle Grayskull when I was a kid. Now that I think about it, it was like totally empty inside. But yeah, I think one of my cousins like gave me at Castle Grayskull, which I was like, cool. But like my only frame of reference for He-Man, because I'd never really watched the show, so I'd seen the movie with Dolph Lundgren, and I mean that movie sucks. So, and then this game sucks too. So I guess I don't have a whole lot of luck with He-Man. I mean, you know, maybe sucks is like a little harsh. Like it's not like this horrible unplayable game or something. It's just I thought it was boring. Okay, you're shooting the things, you're dropping the things on Skeletor, and then you move on. I mean, there's just not much to it. And, I mean, there are games where there's not much to those games, and they're still just fine. Again, something like Space Invaders or Missile Command, it's one action that you perform, but it's a fun action to perform, so you don't mind doing it over and over and over again and racking up your score. Here, I don't know. It just wasn't doing anything for me. You can kind of, you know, tell what you're looking at. Your He-Man and his flying speeder thing, and then the guy at the bottom of the screen is like a purplish, bluish guy. It's like, alright, that's Skeletor, whatever. But, I mean, there's other stuff, like, I don't know, if you could have done things with, like, other characters. I know there are, like, other characters, you know, Man-at-Arms or, you know, Battle Cat or whatever the hell. None of that, though. Although, the title screen did have a fun little Intellivision version of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe theme song. So at least that was pretty cool. But other than that, though, I don't see any reason I'll ever need to play He-Man ever again. Maybe I'll go back and watch that movie again, though, just for old time's sake. Nothing like a movie about a bunch of wild characters in this wonderful, fantastical, mystical world. And then they all get transported to L.A., and then like 75% of the movie's just in L.A., and it bores the shit out of you. Anyway, that's a whole other side plot tangent thing I got going on. Yeah, He-Man on the Intellivision. Not my cup of tea. Next up, Snafu. And this is another one that had people pretty jazzed for an Amico version. And I'd never played Snafu. So this was another one, like Astro Smash was one of the first ones I wanted to give a shot. And this is a pretty fun game. Really simple game. It's like the light cycles in Tron. You just, you know, you leave your streak of color behind you, and then if you run into any color, the colors themselves are like, creates a barrier. So if you run into it, you are eliminated, and you compete against 4 other, I guess you could, you know, it would be a lot more fun if you had some human opponents to play against. In my case, I was playing against some CPU-controlled opponents. But it's fun. It's a very, you know, simple, easy concept to understand. You don't really need any buttons or anything. You just move your little snafu thing around. I don't know what the hell these things are supposed to be, by the way. Again, I just thought of the light cycles in Tron. But yeah, this game is okay. And I think as soon as there's like 2 snafus, I guess that's what they're called. As soon as there's 2 of them left over, some music kicks in, and it's very like 1981 music. It's this jaunty little tune. I don't know. It just feels old, and now I feel old. But hey, I'm not as old as Snafu, so that's nice. This actually, you know what? Going back and playing these games has made me feel young. All of these games were released years before I was born, and that's great. That makes me feel not so old, because, you know, sometimes I don't feel so young either. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I should be talking about Snafu, but there's not really a lot to say about Snafu. What you're seeing on the screen is what you get. But I will say this is a fun game, and I can imagine it would be a lot more fun with some additional players. So if I can get some other people to come over and play, you know, this is something I could see myself playing again. Or, I don't know, like, I guess they had an updated version ready to go for the Amico, and maybe it's available digitally somewhere. I don't know, I'll have to go hunt around for it. But as it is, Snafu on the Intellivision, yeah, it's pretty good. Not bad at all. Check it out if you haven't already. And last, and probably also least, I was going to say last but not least, but now that I think about it, maybe least. I didn't really care for this game at all, but it's Shark Shark. Which again was another game that when the Amico was announced, this thing was all over the advertising. They're like, oh, Shark Shark, a classic, reborn. And then I got to see, as soon as it was put on, I think Steam, I got to see somebody's review of it, and they just took a giant shit on the modern version. And just said how completely awful it was. But again, it was like one of those like up front and center games and all the Amico advertising and promotions and stuff. So I was like, all right, I have to play the original Shark Shark just to see what's up. And I mean, concept on paper is kind of cool. You eat fish that are the same size or smaller, and you like get points, but then you grow and you can eat bigger fish and you avoid the shark. It's just kind of like Astro Smash. It was just a game I was playing, and it just wasn't doing anything for me. I was like, there's really nothing to this. It's like moving my mouse around on my computer screen. Like, honestly, that would be a better version of this game if you could just like play it with, obviously, you know, in a Intellivision game, you're not going to play with a mouse. I was playing it on my controller, but yeah, it like just moving the fish around the screen felt about as exciting as moving my mouse cursor around. My computer screen, and like you're avoiding things and stuff, so there's like a little bit to it, but I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe at the time, if this was like one of the first video games you ever played, you'd be like, oh my god, Shark Shark, that was like my Halo or my Mario World or something. But for me, going back and playing this the first time, I just thought it was boring and kind of lame. And I'm sorry if that hurts the feelings of any Intellivision fans. Although I don't think any Intellivision fans watch my channel. Going by the numbers I got on the Atari 2600 video that I put out, I don't got a lot of like really classic gaming fans watching this channel, I think. Especially not this stuff. I think most people are here just for the Japanese stuff. Because every time I put out a video like this, it's like, yeah, it's like it gets kicked like the, you know, the beaten down dog that it is, these damn videos. Anyway, that's another tangent. I don't know what it is about these Intellivision games that's got me on tangents. But Shark Shark, again, yeah, I mean, I don't mean to, like, shit all over it. It wasn't, like, this terrible experience or anything, you know, because, like, I've played some games recently that were just, like, so god-awful it hurt my feelings. Playing that, the Punisher game on the Amiga, for example, for the Punisher video I did, that was just, like, an awful experience. That was, like, anti-fun. Shark Shark isn't like that. It's not this horrible game. It didn't, like, make me angry or anything. It left me, like, feeling like really nothing at all. No real excitement. Wasn't really having fun with it. But wasn't losing my mind with how horrible it was either. So I'll just leave it at that. The original Shark Shark, I don't really care for it. It's probably a game I'll never play again. And I guess I'm pretty glad I skipped on the modern Shark Shark. Because that also looks like a giant dumpster fire. But anyway, yeah, Shark Shark, not my cup of tea. But let's kick it back to the couch for some final words. So there you go, everybody. Those are 6 Intellivision games that I played for the very first time recently, and those are my honest thoughts on them. So if you agree or disagree, let me know down in the comments. Yeah, a lot of these games, I'm sorry, I just wasn't, I mean, I guess you had to be there. I'm sure the experience is a lot different playing these games when you're a kid. Stuff like Astro Smash and Shark Shark. Didn't exactly blow me away, but I did have some fun with some of these games. The Intellivision version of Dig Dug is pretty damn good. Buzz Bomber, I surprisingly had quite a bit of fun with. So yeah, there were some good and bad. So yeah, the Intellivision, it's so far of these 6 games, it's been kind of like a a 50-50 split of games that have been pretty good and games that were just kind of like, meh, I didn't really get much out of them. So again, down in the comments, what's your favorite Intellivision game? If I do another Intellivision episode of more games, what games should I include in it? And feel free to let me know if I'm like an asshole or an idiot. You can say all that down there. That's perfectly cool. But yeah, that's it. Wrap it up, Jim. This is we're going on a little long here. I'm rambling, which is what I'm good at anyway. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you'll come back for the next episode of more games on whatever the hell topic it's going to be next time. I have no idea, but I hope to see you then. Take care. Goodbye.